Hello, I'm David Kain, president of Kain Automotive, and I'm really appreciative of the fact that you're taking a look at this video today. I get the pleasure of introducing you to Adam Robinson, the CEO of Hireology. And for those of you who have worked with Kain Automotive for years, you know what kind of respect I've got for the CEO of this company. He's not only a personal friend, but he's someone that I feel like I can collaborate with. And heck, if I even got arrested somewhere near where he lives, he'd probably come bail me out. He's just that good of a guy.
Without question, I just want to hear the story. That's all. That's my only requirement.
Absolutely. So Adam, I've had the good fortune of learning from you for several years now. This odd environment invites a lot of opportunity for you to share. So first off, if you would, tell us a little bit about you and how you came to develop Hireology, and then some of the things that are foundational that you think the dealers need to be thinking about nowadays.
Sure. Yeah. So thanks for the question, for the opportunity to be here with you and your audience today. Hireology is a business that I started in 2010. Funny enough, on the heels of the last big downturn that we had, and kind of hoped we never have to deal with another one of those that big again. And here we are, and one even bigger. But Hireology was founded on a simple premise, and that was that organizations who put their people practices first and foremost and treat their hiring and onboarding process as a core and critical part of their business will create sustainable competitive advantage. We operate in a world where products can be copied, service models can be copied, and really the only sustainable differentiator is the quality of the people you have on your staff and the experience they deliver to your customers. So that's really the founding principle of the business. And I got into this business because I had spent 15 years before that working in and around two areas: one, human capital management and recruiting, and two, around dealer networks. So I spent the early part of my career implementing some of the first dealer, we called them intranets at the time, but really they're just web portals. Everything that dealers used to send to their OEMs through the fax machine, parts orders, co-op fund reimbursement, ordering the latest sales material, filing reports, units, things like that into the manufacturer. We replaced the fax machine with website. So, in those days, of course, we'd bring a server into the dealership, install it under the front desk up front, and all this could be yours, for the low price of several $1 million to build an enterprise-wide website, and we do it all over dial-up, and it was lots of fun. So I spent a lot of time in dealerships, certainly automotive retailers, but truck dealers, boats, bikes, RVs, heavy equipment and farm machinery, commercial air conditioning dealer networks, and really got to learn the challenges at the dealer level, because my biggest issue in implementing these systems was the high level of turnover at the store level. And so our biggest business challenge was retraining to the turnover rate within these dealerships. And so my experience in staffing and recruiting, combined with my experience implementing software in dealerships, kind of came together with an idea that there's, we can really impact with software the ability for dealers to put the right team on the field. So that's how we ended up in the business. And of course, today, we serve, close to 1 in 4 new car franchise dealers across all 50 states, and we're having some fun. It's been a fun 6 to 8 weeks, I would say. We've experienced the same challenges right around with our dealer customers. When stores are closed and customers aren't buying, we're dealing with changing government mandates and lockdowns. It's a pretty challenged environment, so we're all sharing the pain. But there's real opportunity here for dealers, which I look forward to talking with you about.
Yeah, so interesting enough, and I love that background, because I think you came about it organically. It wasn't as though you were sitting in a Starbucks and you overheard a story at the next table and said, "Hey, I should do that."
Right.
When you kind of earned the right to create this kind of environment, I think that's really, really solid. So first off, I'll put in a little commercial for those of you who might be curious. Adam wrote a great book called The Best Team Wins, and it's required reading. If you're in this situation, and we all are, it would be really bright of you to do that. And I'm assuming available on Amazon. I was lucky; I got my copy signed by you. So really, really good reading. So make sure that everybody picks it up. But Adam, let's talk real basic. We got 50 states, and it's a real patchwork of environments there. Some dealerships were starting out 2020 thriving, had good reserves, financial, maybe they had a good borrowing line at the bank. And others were kind of getting on their feet, working their way through the beginning of spring, if you will, and might not have been in a good cash position as of yet. So what we've seen is, depending on the market, depending on the cash position of the dealership, we either had 100% furlough, let go, whatever, or the principal said, no, we're keeping everybody. We're going to rewrite pay plans and things of that nature. Tell me a little bit about what your experience is, and don't pass judgment per se, but is there a righter way, if you will, to perhaps consider this?
Yeah, so first some data. What we found is that between March 13th, when we kind of marked that as the start of lockdowns and the contraction in our industry, to the end of April, the week we're just ending now, the number of open positions advertised for automotive retailers in the United States has dropped by about 25%. So, just with the breadth of coverage we have, we think there's, we've dropped from somewhere around 130,000 open jobs in the business or in our industry in the U.S. down to somewhere around 100,000. But that doesn't mean that there are 100,000 opportunities right now. It just means that 25% of the inventories come off the market, with dealers just, taking them down. We estimate that close to 50% of the workforce in automotive retail today is either laid off or furloughed. Those are big numbers. Mm-hmm. But in much of that's driven by necessity. So I'll say this as a caveat. Your financial position dictates your ability to do any of these things. Mm-hmm. So you may sit and listen to this and think, well, that sounds good, but I just don't have the ability to do that. And that's okay. That's reality many dealers are facing right now. So take that, the things that I'll say here with that caveat. I understand that if, you can't afford to keep people, for cash constraint reasons, then you got to manage your business. Yes. But here's my answer. In the last downturn, we saw leading dealers go on the record and say, we are going to do the right thing by our people. We're going to put people first. We're going to rewrite pay plans. We're going to maintain payroll. We're going to do what we need to do to keep our team intact, because what we know is that this will end, and our ability to come out of it faster and gain share in our markets is a function of us keeping our best people. Mm-hmm. So, of course, you had Brett Reichert saying that on the record in his dealership. You had Brian DeBoer at Lithia going on the record and saying, we're not cutting heads, we're keeping people. And that was the playbook that won in the last downturn. You could see dealers that maintained best people and staffing levels came through it faster. We are in that position again. And what I'm encouraged to see are dealers doing exactly that. If they're financially able to do it, they're holding on to key people, they're paying people, they're maintaining benefits. Incentive comp may be crimped, but they're keeping people on payroll. Mm-hmm. And there's real advantage to doing that. The cost of rebuilding your team is going to be high, and the cost of lost opportunity is going to be high. But I'll say something, and maybe coming at it from a different perspective. We have been in talent scarcity for the last 5 years as an industry, where every dealer's number one or number two operating challenge has been staying staffed, finding enough techs, finding enough service advisors or sales professionals to grow the volume and bottom line that they're trying to grow. in a world of talent scarcity, you're doing everything you have to do to just acquire leads. You're spending lots of money on job boards. Your pay rates are rising. All kinds of things are happening. But when we have talent abundance, which is what we had from 2009 to 2014 till unemployment hit 5% and started to go below that, you're operating in an environment where the opportunity to upgrade your team is never going to be better than it is right now.
Yes.
So for every dealer that was unable to maintain staffing levels due to financial constraints or business realities is a dealer that has the opportunity to go out into the market and pick up some really high quality hires right now. And so what we are recommending for dealers that have the ability to do it is going on offense right now from a hiring perspective is a really once in a decade plus opportunity right now. And we have seen dealers, in talking with us directly saying, look, it is time to go on offense right now. I want to turn it all back on. Let's get this machine moving again, because now's an opportunity. And that's really the suggestion that I would make here is look at this as the opportunity to go out and, your free agent pickup opportunity is never going to come easier at a lower cost than it is right now.
Yeah, no question. So let's flip the coin now. You and I have the good fortune of being able to work with the decision makers, the principals, and the GMs of the stores. But let's now switch gears to be the employee. So I just got furloughed. It's a tenuous position. I love the use of the term furlough. I can go to my family and say I was furloughed. It just is a more gentle way of saying I was laid off or I was fired. And maybe there are some nuances there. And I am curious how that's going to play out in the credit market. And when I go to get another opportunity to finance a car or home or anything like that, we can put an asterisk on it and say it was furloughed because of the pandemic. I think that looked better. But let's you and I help the people who are the frontline employees. So I've been working at the dealership. I got furloughed. How do I get back in the game? And do I want to try to get back where I got furloughed from? Should I now, on the other side of the coin, start looking at, how do I market myself? And I think that's really a critical thing, because if I just put myself on the job board versus if I do something else, what advice would you give me as a job seeker?
So if you're in the industry today, right? So we're speaking to folks who may have been furloughed, which is just a fancy way of saying temporarily laid off.
Yes.
Right. So if you're on a full furlough and you're looking to get back in the game, the best path you have, you want to stay in the business. I would stay away from job boards. Instead, what I would be doing is shopping the dealer career sites in your local market. And reaching out proactively and telling people that you're interested in making a change. So if you're looking to stay in the industry and get back to work, now's the time to talk to the operators in your market to see what they're doing. All right, if they're hiring, when they're hiring, and what may be possible. I would be networking as a job seeker like crazy in the industry within my markets right now to do that. If you want to go back, to stay with the dealership that you're at, that's really where dealers, GMs, and their management teams have to step up their game right now, because nothing is worse to a job seeker than the uncertainty and timing of when they may be going back to work if they're holding out for the dealership to reopen or restaff. And so what principals and GMs in a best practice world should be doing is being really clear, open, and honest about timing and duration of these furloughs. And so, if I were a dealer communicating to my team, and let's say I had to furlough 95% of the staff, the one way to do it is to say, we've got a lot of pressure on the business, as everybody knows. Unfortunately, this is a decision we have to make. This is what we're doing, and when we're ready, we'll call you back. That's kind of a standard playbook. Yeah. Another way to do that might be to create, some kind of a social network or group of alumni. You can do that in email campaigns. You can do that through a private Twitter channel or private Instagram account. You can do it with regularly scheduled check-in meetings. I've seen some dealers have biweekly, 15-minute updates on the business with their furloughed staff. Just say, communicate a couple of things. We're just heartbroken over the fact that we had to make these decisions, and we know there's a lot of uncertainty, but it is our intention to bring everybody back if the business, based on the business's ability to bring people back. And it's our commitment to keep you posted on when that is. It is our hope you will come back and work for us, but we also understand that you have to take care of your own personal situation and you have to leave. I don't want you to feel a shred of guilt about having to do that. You take care of you. But my commitment to you is to keep you posted on the timing so you can make a good decision. Like if I'm looking to maintain my staff through a furlough, I'm talking to them weekly or bi-weekly, digitally or on Zoom conference calls or some other way, just to make sure they know I'm thinking about them and that I'm being straightforward and open about the timing.
Yeah, and I think giving them opportunities to learn. And one of the things that we've done, and we've promised this to anyone who's interested, anybody paying attention to this broadcast, is we're giving them access to Kain University free of charge if you've been furloughed, so that they can sharpen their saw and position themselves so that they can improve. And I'll go ahead and mention this. If any of you all have not been to the hireology.com website and the blogs, that website is so rich with great information and insights, and really you could design a good strategy for retention, recruitment, and business growth just by reading those articles that you all post on a regular basis. Adam, let's look to the future. Social distancing, you and I get on a lot of airplanes. I don't know about you, I'm a little freaked out about that.
A little bit.
Get my email from Southwest. We're going to do all kinds of things. It's going to be great. But I now work in a cube, and 3 feet away from me is someone else, or 1 foot away from me is someone else. Let's talk about physical place right now. Will we see an adoption of remote, or will we see a scurry back to let's do what it takes, put the plastic shields up, and we're going to be as close to what we used to be as possible? And this is kind of fun for you to just kind of prognosticate a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the easiest blunt force way to do it is, you put sneeze guards up at cubes and you go for it. I suspect that state by state, the mandate's going to be a little bit different, but what dealers can presume is that the fully reopened physical stores, they're going to need to prove that they have social distancing guidelines in place. And I think the public is going to demand it. And so one of the things I've been saying, David, for the last couple of years is that I can't, for the life of me, figure out why in an environment where comfort with online vehicle purchase and delivery is increasing, why we won't let sales professionals sell from their home full or part-time.
Yeah.
In this business. The public's acclimation to video-based conversations and business transactions is exponentially greater 8 weeks after the pandemic than before. And so this is first and foremost an opportunity for dealers to rethink how they're staffing their physical locations. And so we probably don't need, the wall of sales professionals rotating on ups, ready to mob the next person coming in the door and hanging around. Like, we really need to think about the level of staff that we have in the stores. And so my first suggestion would be, this is an opportunity to think about the level of physical staffing versus virtual staffing that you might have. And you will find that when you move to a part virtual workforce in terms of selling or even writing service, it is possible. that you increase efficiency and customer satisfaction while decreasing the risk of spreading COVID in your workplace. So it's harder and a little more scary to do it this way, but that would be what I'd recommend. I mean, for our own business, David, probably 35% of our 220 person team works from home 100% of the time. That made our transition to 100% virtual really easy because we already had the systems in place. The biggest, but it took 5 years of work for us to really nail that.
Yeah.
The biggest impediment to managing an all or part virtual workforce is the culture change and the technology requirements.
Mm.
So you're only as good as your internet connection when you're working from home.
Yeah.
Right. So you start to think about internet reimbursement policy, about shipping these machines and equipment to people at home. If I want to lessen the employee count or footprint in the office, I want to make sure they have the tools they need to be successful. My recommendation would be that, your dealership group or dealership, if you're single point, creates a reopening task force or committee that thinks about the workforce as a part of that, and asks the question, how many people are we going to want to put in the store at the same time? Does that meet the needs? How much of this can be done from home? Customers will like it. Team members will feel valued. They'll think that they'll know you care about their safety, and you'll comply with whatever mandates are happening locally.
It's interesting. I had just read a study before all this started happening. I'm sure you probably have paid attention to it. And it talked about the open work environment. And Eve and I, when we can go to the office here in California, we go to a co-working space. So in Lexington, I had a space and, traditional office environment and conference room and all the other stuff. Here, we've got a shared conference room. We've got this open space, and we can't go back there yet. But at the same point, I was reading recently that said this whole co-working or this open air environment, call it a cube or just open air, whatever it is less effective than closed offices where people, go back to office space where the guy goes, how much of the day are you really working? Well, after I do this, only about an hour, right? And I think there's some truth to that. What's your statistical analysis or your experiential analysis tell you about remote workforce productivity versus forced in office labor type environments? What's the right approach, and what, maybe if we sat here and made that 5-year plan, should we set sail on building towards that 5th year being mostly remote in some way, shape, or form?
Yeah, I wish I had statistics to give you on productivity. I can tell you anecdotally and just through observation and experience, remote work is more productive. It just is. I'm saving, 30 minutes to an hour on either end of the day. I, as an employee, I'm in fewer meetings. I'm able to focus in 60 to 90 minute bursts of time, where the research shows that you're most productive when you're able to stay on task for 90 minutes before moving to the next task. And so in a remote work environment, and the things that, we're coaching our team internally to do, it's like, if I need to make business phone calls, do it in a 90-minute block and take a break. Or if I'm working on a particular report or task, carve out 3, maybe 4 90-minute blocks in the course of the day with, 15 half hour in between those blocks, and you get a ton done. The productivity goes way, way up. Where we get into trouble in office environments is we're interrupted. I have an open door policy, and people take advantage of that. And I want them to. I want them to take advantage of that policy. I do it because I think the benefits outweigh the downside. And the downside is that most of my focused work has to happen early in the morning before anyone gets there, or late at night after everyone in the house is asleep. Yeah. It's just tougher. I have more opportunities to do that in a remote environment. That said, what I find is proponents of remote work have work styles, personal work styles, and personality traits that acclimate themselves more positively to a remote work environment. I mean, I can tell you that the extroverts within Hireology 7 weeks into this lockdown are peeling their eyelids off of their face with lack of human interaction. And I am one of those people. And so on paper, it says that you're more productive. What you find is more nuanced. It's really function by function and person by person. It's more effective. And so the right prescription, I believe, is to give people that choice. And so it has been emerging inside our company and others that, wow, we're actually pretty good at this remote thing. Can I keep working from home? That's the question that lots of dealers are going to have to answer here. Could I work from home? Could I keep working from home? This has been really working for me. And my answer to our team has been, yeah, on a case-by-case basis, if we can make this work, everyone's safer, you're more productive and happy, everyone wins, we get the job done, that works for me, right? But that's where we are. It's reevaluation.
Well, I'm thinking the savings just in laundry in particular, because I only have to wash from here up.
Yeah, exactly.
From here up, and the rest of it, it's great.
Yeah, just check your camera angle is really the secret. You don't want to be that guy from Good Morning America that showed up without any pants on.
That's right.
Don't be that guy.
And don't carry the computer into the restroom with you.
Yeah, camera's still on, ma'am. You need to turn that off.
Well, Adam, this has been a delight as always. We're going to make 2020 a reconnect year. You and I both have been hyper busy the last 12 months, and this will be good. This is a good catalyst for me to put Hireology right up there in my priority places and make sure that our clients are active in your world and paying real close attention to the leadership that you all provide the industry. And thank you very much for spending time with us.
It's a pleasure, and I can't wait to see you in Oakland.
All right, that sounds great. We'll see you later.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.